Thank you for staying with us. We're still with our panelists in the studio as well as on the Google Plus Hangout. So just before we went on that short break, you were talking about rather, some,
Yeah,
occurrences in the
currencies.
state
Yes.
capital. So please.
Yeah, exactly. What some of his followers, what they did in Abuja, protesting, there were tear gas, they caused some disruption, and that I believe actually made the federal government have more reason to keep him and detain him. Yes, people may say right all right that President Muhammad Buhari is disobeying court orders, but he made a statement a while ago that was highly disputed, very controversial. Some may say about setting that national interest or national security should supersede individual rights.
Yeah.
Though I may not totally agree with that,
Yeah.
but you could see the essence of what he was saying, that some people are kept for their own good and also for the good of the nation. So we must see it in that way. He could, if he was truly a dictator, he would have kept every single person that was alleged to be corrupt, that lives a wild and a flashy lifestyle, and locked them behind bars. But if you're able to profile the 3 people that are being kept, you will see that they are linked to quote unquote organizations that the nation or the state may deem as terrorists, which other people may not deem as terrorists. But and that is why they are kept. These are not just normal people; they are highly influential with a following that could be highly passive at times, but aggressive at some other times.
Yeah. So again, during the president broadcast, he talked about how powerful social media is, and of course, Nigerians know how social media helped during the 2015 elections. Some even believe that the president rode on the back of the popularity of social media, to get to office. But in that broadcast, he talked about how Nigerians need to be careful using social media, and that has also ruffled some feathers, especially on the social media circle. So, I mean, what was he trying to say there?
Okay, so there's been this discussion around the world as regards the regulation of the use of social media. But thank God,
Internet governance generally.
yes, yes, but thank God, we've not really seen a law that has diminished greatly the usage of social media, by the youth and everybody. But also, I don't think social media should not be regulated. I think it should be self-regulating. In other words, according to what Mr. President has said, we should all be careful the way we use social media. And I can give you some examples here. In India, I heard just last week that a particular woman was lynched, and the police had to arrest those who lynched her because there was a WhatsApp message that circulated that she was a kidnapper or something like that, and they lynched her before, of course, they got to know the truth that it was on
the
that.
investigation.
You understand?
Yeah.
Aside that, coming back to Nigeria now, there was an election that I held just recently, and we know what someone who is a very popular social media influencer, a musician to be precise, what he used his social media account to do, causing tension and all that. Precisely, I'm mentioning Oshun, where there was a particular picture of a certain young man that had died. Only God knows what caused the death of that young man. The picture had been circulating, months before that election.
Let me just quickly quote the president verbatim. He said, we must all rise to the responsibility of shutting out those disruptive and corrosive forces that hide in today's world of social media. But then in 2015, yeah, he said, I thank those who passionately carried the campaign on social media. I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
There's a difference between campaign of calumny and campaigning saying the truth. A lot of people say things that are not true on the social media. A lot of people say things to cause tension. A lot of people say things that will cause hatred.
Let's quickly hear from Adamu just before we go. Adamu, what do you think about the social media, banter, with the president as well as those who are on the platform? Quickly.
Yeah, Victor, first of all, I do not believe that government should regulate social media. It's going to be a great error to have few people to regulate freedom of speech, because when you have few people regulating freedom of speech, then they would have to discriminate against others. And usually so that is one. Two, when you give government the power, it is likely that that power can get out of control, that government can impose other regulations in freedom of speech. For example, recently, Canada passed a law that mandated professors to refer to someone who is transgender, to call them, if I'm transgender, for example, and I prefer to be called transgender, my professor is required to call me refer me as transgender. And that sent a wave of criticisms. So my point is, you do not give government to regulate speech. If you do, one day government is going to make you say things you do not want to.
All right.
Stop you from things you want to say.
I'll have to just hold you there, but Don't Corey, thanks for joining us on the program all the way from Iowa in the United States. It's a pleasure to always have you, always. But guys, I have to say thank you as well. I know you really want to say something, but it's all right.
To say, you know, that what he mentioned was that it was the disruptive and corrosive people on social media that are causing problem. Social media is a great tool, but the president was just talking about those kind of people using it negatively.
All right, I have to say thank you again for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me.
As well as Leo Kikyo. Thanks for joining us on the program
pleasure
today.
To be here, Victor.
Well, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please stay with us.
This week's top videos begins with a protest by youth in Abuja who are kicking against the use of direct primaries. They are calling for a return to what was earlier agreed, which is the indirect model.
That FCT is for indirect, and Adams Oshomole can never destroy APC.
And he can never destroy
we have made our choice. We believe that he's a lover of democracy. He should respect the view of the people.
It is followed by another protest, but this time it is the leaders of the PDP marching to the headquarters of INEC and demanding that their candidate be declared winner in the just concluded Osun governorship elections. ThoughtSpot sees former Lagos State Deputy Governor Koforola Bokna alleging that the APC is more like a mafia organization.
Because, you see, it would seem that the whole idea in APC is that everybody should be serving one man. And if you are not ready to serve that one man, then you are out, so to speak. And that one man is the person who decides who is who, and everybody has to worship him. Everybody has to bring dues to him, you know. And, you know, it's not a political party. It's more like a mafia organization.
Coming in second is the Osun State Governor, Rauf Aregbesola, taking a swipe at the PDP leaders who are asking INEC to declare the candidate in the Osun election winner. And the most viewed video of the past week is that of gunshots after violence broke out at the PDP House of Reps primary election in Delta State.
Well, there you go. Those were the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Now, the president may have touched on quite some important issues nationally and internationally during these addresses and also proffered solutions. However, when results will be seen seems to be on the minds of Nigerians, and that is what Nigerians and other world leaders will be hoping to see soonest. And we wrap it up on this note on the program, and as always, continue the conversation via the social media addresses showing on your screen. I'm Victor Matthias. Thank you for watching.